Good morning and welcome to the Idea Morning Digest. And yes, I will not forget, today is the 16th of January, 2026. And like I said before, you're watching the Idea Morning Digest. I am your host, Cynthia Bassi. And yes.
I am Mary Ojimajo. Today, I will not wait for you to introduce me.
Okay, this is the show where we, bring you essential headlines and in-depth analysis and, and those stories that are shaping our world, those issues that are shaping our world. And we have a comprehensive program ahead today. Yes, we have a comprehensive program ahead. And, we thank you for starting your morning with us. And like we always implore you to do, send in your ideas, send in your opinions, send in your comments, send in your thoughts. We want to hear from you. You can send them to our social media platforms at Idea Television and via email at Idea TV Limited. But then, before we go on a break, let's bring you on with the stories we have lined up for you today. And the first story we have here is that the United States approves $413 million for security operations in Nigeria and Africa. And then the federal government unveils new industrialization policy to boost manufacturing. And also you'll be seeing that Nigeria Revenue Service clarifies the VAT on bank charges. And lastly, Nigeria partners Danish firm CBRAIN to fast-track e-government reforms. That and more is what we'll be bringing your way on the news headlines review segment and later on the discussion segment where we'll be talking about the crisis of youth unemployment in Africa. But then let's go on this short break. We'll be right back.
Hi, welcome to Idea TV, the first innovation television. At Idea TV, we bring you cutting-edge stories, insights, and shows that redefine innovation across Africa and beyond. Get ready to upgrade your mind. Idea TV is your go-to destination for the latest trending news, cutting-edge tech, and innovative ideas that shape our future. From technology and innovations, business, health, education and agriculture, climate solutions, science and research. Stay ahead of the curve with us at Idea Television.
Facebook wasn't the first thing I built. I also built chat systems and games, study tools and music players, and I'm not alone. J.K. Rowling got rejected 12 times before she finally wrote and published Harry Potter. I don't know how to build a dam. I don't know how to get 1 million people involved in anything. Well, let me tell you a secret. No one does when they begin. Ideas don't come out fully formed. They only become clear as you work on them. You just have to get started.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, this is the Idea Morning Digest, and I can see that you are not late. So the first story we'll be bringing your way is that the United States has approved $413 million for counter-insurgency and security operations in Nigeria and other African countries. And the funding is contained in the National Defense Authorization Act for the 2026 fiscal year, signed into law on Wednesday by President Donald Trump as security challenges worsen across West Africa. The funds are allocated to the United States Africa Command for operations and maintenance, with Nigeria facing continued insurgency in the northeast, banditry in the northwest, and maritime crime in the Gulf of Guinea. The act also establishes a new assistance, but it's about America's interest too. It's about America's interest too. It's about the world interest. Let me just put it that way so I won't sound like I'm biased. But from where I sit, I think the funding tells us three very uncomfortable things. Because first, the U.S. is worried, not necessarily about Nigerians' safety in the northeast or in the northwest, as from where I stand, but I just feel it's about losing strategic ground, because somehow the world is interconnected. We gain from each other. We know what we get from each other.
Exactly.
So Africa is now, Russia is there offering mercenaries and security deals. China is there building infrastructure. So everybody stands to gain something. And somehow, because Africa is still somehow underdeveloped, so we need all of these partnerships. We need all of these, investment and what's not. So I feel like this response is coming from, especially coming through military partnerships. This response is coming because, it signals that they need something.
Of course.
US needs something, China needs something, Russia needs something, everybody needs something, even Nigeria needs something, Africa needs something. And secondly, I feel like this kind of funding certainly admits that, Nigeria's security crisis is no longer seen as a temporary emergency. It's now the world's problem, and I think it's being treated as a long-term condition. And I like the fact that solutions to this problem is recurring. I think that's the good side of this news. Solutions to this insecurity issues is recurring on the news. It's not just because it is on the news, but we are seeing how, that effort to want to put an end to, insecurity issues or challenges in Africa, in Nigeria as well. And when, foreign partners move from all of those, should I say, ad hoc assistance to a more structured multi-country military budgets, then I think it means that they expect stability. They are not saying that instability would despair or disappear, rather, I beg your pardon, anytime soon, but it's just like a continued effort to, even if it worries me somehow, but I still like the fact that we are seeing that effort, that consistent effort to want to stop this once and for all. And I also... I don't know if this can stand as an unpopular opinion too, because foreign security funding, I think often, most times they strengthen institutions around violence and not necessarily institutions that prevent it. So I'm just kind of scared because we are buying equipment now. We're running joint exercises, joint operations, and, we are holding conferences here and there. But the root of the problem remains. I mean, just yesterday we were talking, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? We were talking about how there was, there's a lot of money rolled out for, budgeted for, security concerns, but this, especially from Borno and all of those states, but nothing has been done. We are still receiving bad news from all of those places. And, we are buying equipment, we are running out of this joint coordination, accountability, and we're still seeing poverty. We are still seeing all of these issues recurring in those areas. I just feel like, well, it's a long one, but I just want us to, Africa should just be serious. Africa should be serious, and partnerships are good. Partnerships are very, very welcomed. They are good, but we should just think of how we can be strategic too from our own ends, and see how our security measures will be more of protecting the people, be more of proactive, long term, and not reacting to people's security priorities.
I think at this point you've actually said well. The partnership is great, and in any country that they do not look at the security challenge they are having, there would be lack of growth and development in that country, because it will affect a lot of things. In as much as we are looking forward to growing our economy, we're looking forward to partner more with other countries, we still need to look inwards and tackle the main problem. What is bringing this insecurity? What is actually making it last long? Why can't we just solve this thing and solve it once and for all? Like, I pray to actually be in a situation where, or I pray to see a situation whereby would be reading on the news that we've completely crushed insecurity. We do not have any insecurity issues, especially in our country here. I don't want to talk about other country because I can't give details of what is going on there. So yeah, I feel at this point the partnership is good. Like you said, other countries will want to help each other to grow, because of course, when you need something from me, I also need something from you in exchange, and this is what makes us grow as a country. So I am not against the fact that this partnership or this money is being paid for counter-insurgency. It's a nice one. It's an appreciating and welcoming idea there.
Yeah, it's a welcome idea, but I'm just hoping that, Africa will not become that.
You are now hoping like me.
Yes, I have to hope. I think I
at this that, point, you're hoping.
Hope thing.
Okay.
I just want it. I don't want a situation where Africa will be that, a serious theater of, global competition. They are dragging us. These ones are dragging us.
Are we really being dragged?
Yes, it's kind of, we have a lot to offer. So we are seeing China coming to say we want to do this mining. We are seeing this one coming. We are seeing Russia coming and saying we want to help with this. We are buying equipment from here. US is coming. It almost seems like we are being dragged, and
So
You know,
we are in the center of
I
all
mean,
this.
and whether we like it or not, it's like it's we are in the middle of the contest somehow. But then, especially Nigeria. But then let's move to the next news. Federal government has introduced a new Nigerian industrialization policy aimed at boosting manufacturing, value addition, and job creation. The policy was announced yesterday in Lagos by the Minister of State for Industry, Senator John Eno, during a soft launch held alongside the Nigerian Economic Summit Group's 2026 Macroeconomic Outlook. The minister said the policy approved in 2025 aligns with President Bola Tinubu's national development agenda and focuses on strengthening local production, deepening value chains, reducing imports, supporting small businesses, and improving Nigeria's competitiveness under the African Continental Free Trade Area. The policy targets raising manufacturing's contribution to the economy to between 20 and 25% by 2030. Full implementation work has begun with a formal launch expected next month as the government seeks to turn the industrial strategy into jobs, productivity, and sustainable growth. I think this one sounds very good, and it's exactly why we should slow down and interrogate it calmly as well. Yes, because every Nigerian government, should I say civilian or military, has announced an industrialization policy. Yes, we've seen it so many times, and so the announcement itself is not the story. It's not, should I say, is not the bone of contention here. The real story is credibility. Yes. And, when you hear a target like, how should I put it, like manufacturing contributing 20 to 25% of GDP by 2030, what we should ask is, what has changed structurally to make this possible now, when it wasn't before?
Okay.
So we should ask some of these questions, very pertinent at this point in time, or very crucial too, because power supply is still unstable.
Very unstable.
Logistics costs are still they're still crushing somehow. I don't know. Interest rates are high.
Yeah.
We are seeing policies that are being reversed. They are still there. Policies are being reversed today, and tomorrow you say, no, this one isn't working again. This one should be put in place. Now, to be fair, aligning this kind of policy with the African Continental Free Trade Area, that is the AFCTA, is very smart. I think it's very smart. Was it the other day I was telling you how I've been following what the AFCTA is doing since 2025, and I'm seeing that they are, on the right track. Okay. So I think aligning this kind of policy with the AFCTA is very, very, very smart. And if Nigeria doesn't industrialize, AFCTA will help us. It will simply turn Nigeria into that, I think that giant market for African manufacturers. So I think this policy is in many ways kind of, should I say, defensive, because it's about survival and not about ambition. And but I just feel like one honest concern I have here is that industrialization cannot be announced into existence. It should be built on. It should be worked on. We should put all effort in it, and through things like bringing back power reforms. We should reform power, infrastructure facility, all of those port efficiency. And that's why I say I really like what the AFCTA is, and I like that this policy is, tying to what the AFCTA is doing, because we have been struggling with all of those power inefficiency. We have been struggling with tax. Now we are even complaining about tax that people do not really understand. You see that we do not really understand. Some understand it, but they are still disputing, the
how it's going to help.
Yes, the good aspect of it, or what it's going to bring. But we are seeing unpredictable tax. We are seeing a lot of things, and we are even still doubting our trust with government and manufacturers. So I think if all of these fundamentals do not change, then this policy will just risk becoming one that will glorify. It's a
avoid.
beautiful idea. It's a good idea, but at the end of the day, it will not, live on. It will not do a lot of tangible or bring a lot of tangible changes we seek in our economy. So I'll just say something very slightly uncomfortable because, Nigerians. What I always, like I said before, Nigeria do not lack policy.
Okay.
We do not lack policy, and we should know this. What we lack is that discipline to, follow up with this policy.
Exactly.
That's exactly what we lack. So I just feel like investors want to believe in a stable market. They want where there is structure. I've said this countless times, and I'm still emphasizing it. They don't just want a rule that will bring a rule, and then later the rule will change halfway. That's uncertainty, and not that investors are scared of risk. And I'm repeating this again. I've said it over time. They are just scared of uncertainty. Where there are no rules, or where there are rules but rules keep changing, going off and on. That is not what investors
when the rule is not balancing.
Exactly. So I just feel the government should just follow through, not with all of these speeches. They should follow it up.
They should
what needs
follow
to be
it
put
to
on
the
ground.
end.
Exactly.
Following it to the end is what matters. We've been seeing all the news making rounds about implementation of policy here and there. Like you said, we do not lack policy. Is the discipline to follow it to the end is what we're looking forward to, because this is actually a good one. When you're saying job creation, you're also saying it's going to improve, it's going to align with President Tinubu's development agenda. Is focusing on strengthening local production, is deepening value chain. You see reducing of import, supporting small businesses, and improving Nigerian competitiveness. When you read all these things, you feel excited in you, like you are part of the plan. Now, it's not giving you this mindset that you are part of the plan already. So whatever you're doing, this is going to help improve your own personal business too. And you are seeing yourself in this plan already. But the problem is, will it be carried out till the end? Would they follow through? That's what we're looking at right now. Would they follow through? But like I always used to say, I feel this year is full of a lot, and it came with a lot of things.
To see hope.
And it came with a lot of things, a lot of promising things. So I just believe that at this point, it's time for the government to start looking into those past policy. Should I say past policy that they've brought to our table as for 2025 before this year? They can revisit it and start, implementing. Exactly, and start implementing most of those things, because I don't feel they are old because they were not implemented. We only heard of them. We didn't see it in real life. We didn't see it in real time. It didn't come to light. So they can at least bring those things that can help us in this 2026, and we move forward. So we as Nigerians would still have trust and believe that, yes, this country is taking us somewhere. They take us where we did not know. It's taking us somewhere that we know. So yes,
because we don't know.
Exactly. It's a beautiful one here, and I just look forward to it being implemented and, come true for us.
Okay, I think that brings us to the next story. Tax. Okay, the Nigerian Revenue Service. I'm smiling and I'm laughing because it's tax again. Nigerians are still contesting this tax issue. The Nigerian Revenue Service has clarified that there is no new value-added tax on banking transactions. The agency says VAT has always applied to certain bank service charges and was not introduced by the Nigerian Tax Act. In a statement issued yesterday, the service explained that fees such as transfer charges, USSD fees, card issuance fees, and account maintenance charges have long been subject to VAT under existing tax law. The Nigerian Revenue Service urged the public to ignore misleading reports and rely on official communication, stressing that the new tax law does not impose any additional VAT burden on bank customers.
Okay.
You see, this story is less okay. When I read it, I was like, because what I'm saying is that this story is less about VAT and more about trust.
Okay.
Yes. And I always, since this tax issue
reform
this tax reform came up, I've always told, and Cynthia, are you in this country? Do you understand? I said, I'm in this country. I'm a low-income earner, for your information. But I just feel like where we have a problem, because I remember the chairman of the committee, of the tax reform committee, when he was, he said in an interview that Nigerians do not understand it, Nigerians are confused, they are mistaking this one for this one. And I just feel it's not about the lack of understanding, it's that trust that the Nigerian government, the system, has not built over time in the minds of the people.
Exactly.
And technically, I can say that the agency may be right. VAT on certain bank charges is not new. We know of all these things. You stay and you see so amount has left your account.
Yes.
Why? USSD charges, this, that, and we don't contest that so much. But yes, the reality is that from let me come from the public perspective now, because Nigerians feel squeezed.
Of course.
Yes, Nigerians feel like they are being choked from every direction.
And like
we are battling inflation.
Do not count.
Exactly, and their opinions do not count. Here the chairman is coming out to, he was laughing in that interview, so some people felt being mocked at, you get, and all of those things. That. We are battling with fuel prices, we are battling with transport costs. So many whisper of a new tax feels like an attack to Nigerians. It feels like it's choking us. So I think the deeper issue here is a failed communication. The tax reform committee the Nigerian government or whatsoever, have not properly communicated and educated people. What they have successfully done is that they have announced, but they have not successfully communicated these new tax laws with people. And I think that's why we brought a lawyer here to break it down for us, and it did justice. That video will be out on our social media pages, hopefully today or tomorrow. But it's on our YouTube page, so people can go and watch and get a full, not just a glimpse, a grasp of what the tax reforms is about or what it entails. So when, like I was saying, when tax authorities speak only in legal language, while we brought that lawyer, we wanted him to create that balance. I like to break things down into simple, terms for people to understand. So I can understand too. We told him to break it down so people can understand, and he did justice to that. That's Barrister Ate Solomon. Yes, not Kumbo. Yes, that's from Barrister Ate Solomon. So I think going back to what I was saying is that most of these things were communicated in legal languages. How many people can understand that? And then after that, we saw public outrage. People were saying all this and that. People started to lose control because they lost the narrative. They didn't understand. They were lost along the line. So people don't read tax laws.
Exactly.
People don't read. How many of us go and read tax? People don't read tax laws. They only experience it. And how do they experience it? We are deducting from their accounts.
Of course.
We are removing this from their accounts.
Feeling it.
And that's the truth. So that's how we, understand the new tax law. So it's very good when it is broken down into simpler terms, communicated properly, so people can understand. All of the organizations, associations, whatnot that are in tune with all of these things should break it down, such as banks. Break it down to your customers. This is it, this is it. I only saw January 1st, my bank just sent me, you will be 15 naira will be whatever. And I was like, okay, how many people want it? People will start shouting, people will start complaining. But I didn't complain because I think I understand it to an extent. Okay. If I must complain, I will complain that, I'm not earning much. That's where my own complaint will come from. Okay, I need to do more to earn, so I wouldn't feel it.
So you
get
affect you.
You get so even if it's going to, but I would not feel it because
like
our complaint is that we just feel like the system. We do not trust the system. We just feel like they are taking from us.
Exactly what I want to say.
Exactly,
because the thing is, I for one do not feel that is the explanation that is making Nigerians to react this way. They do not even want the help.
Over time, banks have hid behind regulation.
Exactly.
They will never regulation.
Exactly.
They will never come out and say. They will never come out and say this is it. They'll always justify that excessive charges.
Yes.
They'll always justify all these. Their I don't even know what to say there because regulators, they really challenge the culture aggressively.
Yes.
What they'll come out to do is that, okay, just see, 1st of January, when the reform was rolled out last year, the next thing everybody saw, you saw some UBA We saw it on the news.
Yes,
saw
of course.
theirs 31st night. Yes,
They were
of-
very
of
fast to
December.
implement that.
My bank rolled out theirs on the 1st of January.
Okay.
Without proper
Explanation.
I mean, without proper explanation, it's just this. Some people have not heard that there's tax. They just hear
Yes.
the tunable one increase. That's what some people understand. That's
Of
how some
course.
people understand this
Of course.
message. If you
That's
go
true.
out on the street and you get to hear, from people's people's opinions,
Yeah.
hear what the streets are saying, you will see that you are sitting down here and you are talking another thing.
Yes.
And
Then
out
they are
there,
understanding
they
it in another
understand
way.
another thing.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
just feel when people hear all of these VAT charges, bank charges, that's those who even understand though. They are not reacting to tax policy alone.
Exactly.
They are reacting to years of all of those nickel and dimed without explanation. That is what they are reacting to. So if Nigeria truly wants to improve tax compliance, because this is what I have gotten from this, we are just looking for a way to improve tax compliance. And a data-driven system is very, very important. And that is what the Nigerian Tax Committee reform are aiming to do with this, which I support greatly. But then clarity must come before confusion.
Exactly.
Proper communication, not after
Proper
all
one.
of those social media backlash, and then you come out and say these people do not understand. How else will they understand? How else?
For
We
an
have a
average
lot
man,
of
any
illiteracy in
little.
Nigeria.
Of course.
We have a lot of illiteracy in Nigeria. We cannot lie.
course.
It is this generation now that are having more people that are going to school, and school does not even equate to being literate. So we
Exactly.
just need to understand things properly. Trust is not a revenue issue. It's something you have to build in the people. And once people believe the system is unfair or deceptive, they won't want to believe anything. They will see tax as illegitimate. They will see all reforms as illegitimate and politically toxic. Because just carry mic and put in people's mouths.
And you
in
will
Nigeria,
hear things.
the next thing you just hear is, you want to ask them, do you have water in your... oh, okay, what is your name today? How are you today? Tell us one thing you are happy about today. And the next thing you start hearing, Tinubu, no. It's always about... It goes
Of
back to
course,
that line.
because
That's
this is where
lack
it's
of...
affecting them
Exactly.
more.
You begin to notice this lack of trust. So yes, the clarification matters. It does matter. But it's because it does matter, so that it will expose all of those fragile lapses and, systems, all of those, fragile public confidence,
Exactly.
and then we'll know where to fix what to fix. But then, let me not dwell on this. I think we've said
And after
much.
clarification, they should make sure that they are following up with how
Exactly.
they explained it to be.
Exactly.
Not at the end of the day, we'll be seeing opposite of what has been explained, which is
Exactly.
going to torture a lot of people.
It may
Because
not
tell
even,
me,
it may not even be from the committee itself.
Exactly.
It's down to the value chain. I always, Nigerians,
all is up to you.
I think let's go to the next last story so we don't waste so much time on that. Nigeria has moved to Nigeria. The move comes as Nigeria seeks to improve its global e-government ranking and meet its target of digitizing 75% of public services by 2027. Authorities say the reform is expected to boost efficiency, transparency, and access to public services for over 200 million citizens while supporting the growth of digital economy. I think this is I think this is very important. This is a very important deal here, because e-government is about, it's not just about apps, it's not just about portals, I think it's about building a power structure here. That's how I see it. And when all of these processes becomes digital, when all of these government processes becomes
Efficient.
yes, efficient too, discretion will reduce. So I think it's very, very important, because when discretion reduces, we tend to see a reduction in corruption too.
Of course.
Somehow, I know it cannot be completely eliminated, but somehow corruption becomes harder, and I'm not saying it's going to be impossible, but it's going to be harder. And that's why reforms like these often face silent resistance. Yes, because it's faced silent resistance. I do not mean from the people, from the government. Even when they look like something that is going to be a game changer, you tend to see some resistance somehow, because some people will begin to think how it is not going to favor them again. But I think partnering with companies like CBRAIN is good too. I think they have all of those experiences in digitizing public administration. And it's good, especially with a country like Denmark. Yes, it's very significant, because Denmark as a country has a very good record with so many things: education, public responsive services, so many things. So I think partnering with Denmark is way to go. It's something that I sign. It's something that I would say it's a way. It's the step in the right direction because and then I think the insistence that data remains within Nigeria is also crucial here because digital sovereignty is becoming a global issue. Yes. I remember when the US was holding DeepSeek for churning out some misinformation to people about the US and all of those things. So yes, that's where we talk about digital sovereignty. So digital sovereignty is very important right now because we cannot do away with the digital system these days. And Nigeria is right to be very cautious about, where citizens' data lives. So it's very important. And also, let's be realistic because technology does not fix institutional challenges.
Yes.
And all of those institutional culture by itself. So I think all we need to do, because we can automate all of these bad processes and still get bad outcomes. Yes, we should have that in mind. But what I see here is that civil servants should be trained on how to use these. Civil servants should be aware on how they can be protected. It's very important, and incentivize the use these systems, of these systems properly. We should do that because it's not just to talk about, digitizing the whole process, the whole government process, the whole institutional processes and whatnot. I think these platforms may end up underused if we do not train civil servants how to use it. Was it the other day we were talking about a computer can be, you go to all of these civil services, civil organizations or offices, and you see a computer sitting in front of somebody, and then we are there writing with pen and paper, carrying files from up to down 10 million times. It's not because they don't want to use it. They don't know what to press.
Exactly.
They don't know how to use it. So
it.
it's not to digitize the system. As we are digitizing the system, we should also train them on how to use it. If not, this thing will end up being underused and, deliberately bypassed. So I think that's the much I have to say about this.
This it's a very good reform because it's going to help improve service delivery. It's also going to help enhance transparency and accountability. Like you said, it's going to help reduce the rate of corruption. Not totally, but it's going to help. Where everything is done online, citizens can now access government service online, do their payment, taxing, renewing things, and having permits online and all that. Definitely is going to reduce corruption in a bit because before you are able to do such a thing online, you should, even if you are a pro, you should know that you'll be traced back to it. Because a lot of paperwork these days has cost a lot of things or a lot of unimagined things. So I feel doing things that way and this partnership is actually a big one, and it's going to help us in such a great way.
I think with that we should just give credit to the government too,
because
this is a good structural reform. I think it's a good structural reform. But then that's the much we can take. Let's bring you on with the headlines we brought your way. And the first news story we brought your way is that the United States approves $413 million for security operations in Nigeria and Africa. And then the federal government unveils new industrialization policy to boost manufacturing. And also, Nigeria Revenue Service clarifies VAT on bank charges. And lastly, Nigeria partners Danish firm CBRAIN to fast-track e-governance reforms. All these are good stories when it comes to reforms, somehow. But then that's the much we can take on that segment. We'll bring you the discussion segment later after this break.
Hi, welcome to IDEA TV, the first innovation television. At IDEA TV, we bring you cutting-edge stories, insights, and shows that redefine innovation across Africa and beyond. Get ready to upgrade your mind. IDEA TV is your go-to destination for the latest trending news, cutting-edge tech, and innovative ideas that shape our future. From technology and innovations, business, health, education, and agriculture, climate solutions, science, and research. Stay ahead of the curve with us at IDEA Television.
Robotic Process Automation, RPA. RPA is about automating repetitive tasks that typically require human intervention, whether it's processing invoices in the finance sector or automating customer service interactions. RPA is transforming how businesses operate. The benefit? Employees can focus on higher value tasks, while software bots handle the mundane stuff. However, RPA implementation comes with high upfront costs and Smart apps. Smart apps leverage AI and machine learning to provide personalized user experiences and automate tasks. These apps are being used across sectors like finance, healthcare, and retail to improve customer engagement and operational efficiency. For example, smart investment apps offer tailored financial advice, while healthcare apps assist in diagnostics. However, data privacy remains a concern as these apps collect sensitive user information. The market for smart apps is projected to grow to $62.4 billion by 2025.
Okay, it's good to have you back.